At 0530 hours on December 21, 1944, Brigadier General Anthony McAuliffe stood in a frozen basement in Bastogne, Belgium, watching German Panzer tanks position themselves for an assault. He was about to face annihilation, or so the Germans thought. 18,000 American soldiers, surrounded by 3 German divisions, outnumbered 5 to 1, running low on ammunition, freezing in -15 degrees Celsius, with reinforcements 60 kilometers away, fighting through enemy lines just to reach them. Every tactical principle said this was a disaster, and every tactical principle was dead wrong. McAuliffe wasn't the division commander. That was Major General Maxwell Taylor, who happened to be in Washington when the Germans punched through the lines. Command fell to McAuliffe by default, a 46-year-old artillery officer from West Point who'd graduated just as World War I ended. He'd served in the artillery corps, not in command. But on December 19th, 2 days before the Germans surrounded Bastogne completely, McAuliffe explained to his regimental commanders exactly why getting surrounded would destroy the German offensive. And what happened over the next 8 days would prove him right and turn an apparent disaster into one of the most decisive American victories in the entire war. The Germans didn't understand what they were actually doing. The 1st American Division destroyed was the 106th Infantry Division on December 17th. Green troops, newly arrived, positioned in the quiet Ardennes sector for seasoning. When the Germans hit them with 90 minutes of artillery from 1,600 guns, then pushed 3 entire armies through an 80-kilometer front, the 106th got surrounded and overrun. 8,000 Americans surrendered, the largest mass surrender of U.S. forces in Europe the entire war. McAuliffe watched the final radio transmissions from their command post. Desperate calls for ammunition, for air support, for anything, then silence. The second disaster came on December 17th at Clairvaux. The 28th Infantry Division faced the 2nd Panzer Division, 120 tanks, 16,000 men. They fought building to building for 2 days, lost 700 men. And the town fell on December 18th. The road to Bastogne opened wide. By December 19th, McAuliffe had watched 2 American divisions get destroyed. He'd seen the intelligence reports showing the German breakthrough rolling west, apparently unstoppable. And yet, on December 18th at 0300 hours, the 101st Airborne loaded onto trucks and drove north toward Bastogne with orders to hold the crossroads at all costs. No winter gear, insufficient ammunition, no clear intelligence on enemy strength. Most of the division's senior leadership was elsewhere. But here's where it gets controversial. McAuliffe understood something the Germans completely missed. When they surrounded Bastogne, instead of bypassing it, they were committing their armor into a killing zone. Every tank positioned around the perimeter was a tank, not racing west. Every artillery battery attacking the town was artillery not supporting their advance. Every ton of supplies, every liter of fuel, every ammunition truck for their spearhead divisions had to come through that road network, and the Americans were sitting directly on it. When they surrounded Bastogne, they didn't trap the Americans. They concentrated their own forces into a fixed position around a known objective. They had to attack down roads. They were mechanized. They needed those roads. The Americans could prepare defensive positions, prearrange artillery, position anti-tank weapons exactly where they needed them, and when the Germans attacked, they'd be attacking into prepared defenses from predictable directions, with their supply lines stretched thin behind them. The defensive scheme McAuliffe set up wasn't about holding every meter of ground. It was designed to absorb attacks, channel them into kill zones, destroy them with firepower. Ground could be surrendered temporarily, as long as the defense stayed coherent and the artillery kept firing. The first German probe came at 1500 hours on December 20th, a company from the 26th Volksgrenadier Division advancing up the road from the south. The Americans let them approach to 200 meters, then opened fire with machine guns, rifles, mortars. The attack broke in 8 minutes. The Germans pulled back, leaving 32 bodies on the road. American casualties, 0. That's how the next 8 days unfolded. The Germans would attack. The Americans would annihilate them. The German offensive that was meant to reach the Meuse River and Antwerp never got anywhere near it. By the time reinforcements broke through and lifted the siege, the Germans had wasted 5 divisions worth of armor and momentum and had nothing left to threaten anyone. What the Germans thought was a trap was actually the worst tactical mistake of their entire offensive. McAuliffe understood that sometimes the worst position is actually the strongest one, if you know what you're doing. The Germans had speed. The Americans had intelligence and firepower positioned exactly where it mattered. And that's why Bastogne became one of the most decisive American victories of the war. Subscribe to the channel to get all the new content, and share the video if you think it could help someone else.